Good day, my friends. This is the Monday version of this thing of ours, May the 20th, 2024. And we have a lot to talk about today. And from when I first anticipated yesterday evening what would happen today, it's a different story altogether. There is so much that is happening and so much that requires your understanding of not only what's happening, but the application of critical thinking. I can't say this enough to you, my dear friends. I can't say this enough. Remember, as we always say, this is right now 169 days until the election. 169 days until the election. And this is perhaps one of the most frightening stories, which nobody's talking about because they're thinking, oh, everything is so terrific and Trump is doing so well. And what could go wrong? Famous last words. We're going to be talking about Iran today. Assange, a host, a change in our culture as evidenced by virtue of what we are seeing happening in terms of going back to this acceptance and reaffirmation of traditional values and the like. I know that sounds kind of corny, but it's not by any stretch of the imagination. So, dear friends, please sit back, enjoy yourself, get ready. And before we begin, it is always critical right now, especially as everybody is trying to, quote, unpack what happened regarding the horror, the period of lockdown and the pandemic and the, as others call it, the plandemic. And we're going to be discussing that. Bobby Kennedy is forging that as an issue. He's basically saying that Trump is just as guilty as everybody else in promoting the vaccine. So anyway, when all of that happened, do you remember how everybody was caught flat-footed? You would call your physician and say, "Hey, can you give me this ivermectin?" Hello. It's like, I don't want to talk about that. And then later on, we're saying, it was very, very effective, very, very palliative. And hydroxychloroquine, isn't that dewormer and Clorox? And I mean, it was nuts. So what are you doing now? What can you do now before this happens again? How can you be prepared, ready to go now with a wellness kit, an emergency kit? Where would you go that has all of the items that you need? Well, listen very carefully, my friends. Listen to this critical information from our sponsor. It blows my mind that more people aren't talking about this, that everyone's not talking about this. The fact is that on Thursday, March 21st, the court ruled that the FDA must delete every social media post addressing the use of ivermectin for treatment or prevention of COVID-19. Now, it's been determined that the FDA lied in their demonizing of ivermectin and other effective drugs for the last 4 years, vindicating doctors like Dr. Peter McCullough, who stood strong despite every cancellation campaign. But the question is, okay, how do I get ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, HCQ? Most doctors still won't even consider prescribing it. Remember, there will be a next time. And the wellness company's contagion emergency kit, complete with the McCullough protocol, has you covered. The only one of its kind, this prescription emergency kit provides you with a carefully selected assortment of effective medications for COVID-19 and other respiratory illnesses. Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, HCQ, Z-Pak, Tamiflu, and budesonide, along with a nebulizer, so you can rest easy knowing that you have emergency meds on hand, along with a guidebook for safe use. The Wellness Company's Contagion Emergency Kit is a must-have. Go to twc.health/Lionel and grab your Contagion Emergency Kit right now. That's twc.health/Lionel and use code Lionel to save $30 and free shipping at checkout. Kits are only available in the U.S. Now, I hope you see what is happening now. And first, we must get to the notion of Raisi's, his how do I say this? His tragic death, surprise death. Is that perhaps it? Israel insists right away that it was not they who were responsible for this after, quote, the butcher of Tehran, they call it. The Butcher of Tehran, Iranian president, is killed in a mysterious helicopter crash a month after theoretically ordering missile attacks on Israel. Why? And this is the best part. When you read what is happening, you try to triangulate. You try to figure out, well, how does this work exactly? How is this working? Why were there missile attacks on Israel? Why? Anybody hazard a guess? Anybody? Anybody at all? Anybody here? Hello? Hello? Are you with me? Hello? Is this on? Check, check. Why would why would Iran order, quote, attacks against Israel? Why? Anybody? Hatred. No. Come on. Retaliation. Okay, Smiling Sue. Retaliation for what? For what? What? What do you think? What was the reason? Testing Iron Dome's capacity? No. Why? I don't know. Why did they do this? Holy war? No. To keep the tension alive? No. I mean, yeah, that could be reasons. Embassy attack. Thank you, Smiling Sue. The embassy attack in Damascus. Israel attacked, this is the rule, a sovereign country in a country at their embassy. Do you hear this? At their embassy. You don't do this. Now, do you know what American media said? Well, they had military folks at the embassy. It really wasn't an embassy. That was again maybe a shield, a human shield, an embassy shield. And of course, people just said, oh, well, whatever. Say, no, wait. Whether you like the rules or not, isn't this incredible? Nobody is even remotely interested. They're saying, well, after all, they retaliated. I cannot believe, look, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you in terms of how people are going to react to this. You can think any way you want. You can think anything you want regarding all that is happening. You can absolutely, positively, your opinion is your own. I give it to you. I give you your opinion. But do you at least want to know what they are saying happened? Do you know? Because America says, you don't understand. Iran is evil. How many believe it is evil and that the rules don't apply? Anyone? How many of you seriously believe that Iran is just evil? Period. End of discussion. And that nothing applies. Nothing. Anybody? This is your, and if you watch Fox News or whatever, because remember, you have to triangulate. You have to say, okay, here's what's happening here. Because remember, the American media, the American news media, this is basically written, well, when it comes to what's going on here, written, drafted, and basically scripted by Israel. No, I'm not saying, I know people say, how dare you? No, please, let's stop. Let's stop pretending. Let us stop pretending that this is not the case. Let us stop pretending that this is somehow, I don't know what the word is. I don't know how to, but let me say this again to you. These are aspects, these are things, these are worlds, these are, for lack of a better word, these are realities that nobody seems to care anything about. Do you understand that? This is the part which I cannot explain to you. This is the part which I try my best to always say, understand what they are saying. Understand what people are saying. Understand this. Don't question it. Just say, this is what their, how do I say this? This is their level of, what's the word? Their understanding, their operational understanding. Do you understand this? This is the part which is absolutely critical that we understand this. For you to understand, for you to grasp, for you to be a part of I don't know what the word is, to be a citizen of the world, you're going to have to understand this. You're going to have to understand what's happening with Julian Assange. You're going to have to be in a position, ladies and gentlemen, to grasp what is happening now. And you also have to be one of these people who do not, and I mean this, people who do not find themselves in the position where they are, for lack of a better word, sworn to, a slave to, responsible to, and for this idea of good versus evil. I'm not telling you to like people. I'm not telling you to care for them. I'm asking you very, very simply, and this is important. I'm asking you how to understand who these people are. That's all. And understand what's going on. And understand what's happening. Depending upon what you're seeing. By the way, this morning there was all over the world. Twitter was going crazy. The live hearing regarding the treatment of and the addressing of Julian Assange. Nothing's being done in this country. Nothing. We live in this vacuum-sealed world of nothing here. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's absolutely critical. It's absolutely critical that people have this understanding. Now, first and foremost, is it the weather? Why were they traveling in this horrible weather? Is this similar to the Kobe Bryant case? Could that be it? I don't know. Number two, could this be, as somebody was saying immediately, directed energy weapons? I don't know who these people are, but they can say it. But when somebody says, "Oh, I like that," because the conspiracist loves directed energy weapons for everything, weather, fire, anything. They will also confuse your incredulity as to that, as to directed energy weapons, applicable in this case to you saying, I don't believe there are directed energy weapons. I don't believe it. You're not saying that. You're saying, why do you go? It's this go-to thing. They're also going to be talking about the helicopter they were using. They say it was a Bell, and it was rather, well, shall we say, it was a little bit kind of, what's the word? The Daily Mail has an interesting, they say Israeli officials have declared they had nothing to do with the devastating helicopter crash that killed Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi. Raisi, who was 63, was confirmed dead by the Iranian media today, along with sources of other people. 2 pilots and 3 other Iranian officials and security guards also perished in the crash. Drone footage from Iranian and Turkish news agencies revealed the helicopter had smashed apart on landing, while clips shared by the Iranian Red Crescent showed rescuers carrying corpses on covered stretchers out of the forest surrounding the crash site. The incident sparked a wave of speculation as to the cause of death, with many theorists pointing the finger at Israel. The nation is at war with Tehran-backed Hamas in Gaza. The nation is at war with Tehran-backed Hamas in Gaza. So what does that mean? They're at war with... And tensions boiled over in April when Israel and Iran exchanged rounds of direct drone and missile strikes. Why? Though Israel, this is the Daily Mail now, has not released an official statement, officials who requested anonymity batted away accusations that Tel Aviv was at all behind the crash, telling Reuters, it isn't us. Iran is yet to provide any details surrounding the crash, nor has it offered an explanation besides a simple statement of the poor weather conditions. But Iranian aircraft, especially Western supplied models such as US-made Bell 212, which is kind of like a Huey from what people were suggesting, are notoriously unsafe and in state of disrepair, as the Islamic Republic has long been subject to Western sanctions that prevent access to desperately needed spare parts. It is not known when Raisi's helicopter was manufactured, but the Bell 212 has been in use with governments around the world for more than 50 years, first entering service in the early 70s. Now, let me just stop right there. Iran could get the greatest helicopters in the world, bar none, if they only wanted to do this. Do you hear what I'm saying? Iran could do this if it so desired. If it so desired. That's all. There's no way that, well, we're stuck with this Huey and we can't get the parts. Excuse me, Saudi Arabia, I don't understand that. This is why are we going into the spare parts were bad and the weather themselves. There's also wonderful, fascinating, incredibly interesting, how do I say this? Interesting reviews of the weather maps and the like by citizens and those familiar with this, showing that there were swaths allegedly of weather information that are missing. And so it remains, you're going to be triangulating. What I'm saying to you is you're going to triangulate. You're going to take this news west to find, okay, this is the official story coming straight from Israel. Boom. And I'm sorry, I don't hope I'm not hurting anybody's feelings, but Fox News is just right. And CNN and others are just taking down. They're basically amanuenses, repeating specifically the official statement of what's going on. That's number one. Then you have to go elsewhere. You have to look at foreign press, look at Middle Eastern, look at Iranian, look at press TV, listen to the French, listen to the BBC. Well, that's Western, but still, listen to WION and First Post and the other bloggers and various digital platforms. These are people who are critical to this. These are critical to find out what's happening. But you cannot say it's a laser missile or directed energy weapon or sabotage. You don't know anything yet. And the reason why is very simple. You just don't know yet. Now, being suspicious, God bless you. Be suspicious. Yes, have your list of suspects. When you have someone who is involved in, let's say, a missing child, you obviously do things where you go first to the, how do I say this? You go first to the relatives. You go first to a variety of folks. You see what I'm saying? You go to these people that you would normally suspect. If there's a woman missing, you go to the husband, ex-husband. We're in the middle of a divorce. This is probable cause. This is suspicion. This is okay. This will lead you ultimately to the grand prize, reasonable doubt. That's the conviction. But there's a difference between suspicion and that which you think might be the case. It might be there. So the next rule is, I want you as a Mearsheimer realist and others, get rid of the notion of who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. And I am seeing it myself with the moment you start to take the moment you become so angry with everybody that you can't see reality, you hurt and harm yourself. I'm telling you, you hurt and you harm yourself. If you start hating Israel and I told you this past weekend, we saw students in front of the Universal Music building saying Zionists out of the music business. How in the hell are you going to, what does that even mean? Do you know what you're talking? Zionists, what? They're caught up in the hate. They're caught up in worrying. They're in the movement. No. Back up. Look at this from an aerial perch. Look at the battlefield. Look at the people involved. We're not Israelis or Iranians or Gazans. We're over here. Look at who these people are and ask yourself, what is it that Israel wants? What does Hamas want? What does Gaza want? What do they want? It's about power. It's about hegemony. It's about being the biggest and the baddest and running the show. Israel does not want a two-state solution. They want everybody out. Now, if you don't know this, if this is news to you, you're not paying attention. You've never read anything. You've never listened to anyone. We're getting so uptight about campus protests and whether you're beating somebody up and did this professor, did he plagiarize or she? I mean, we're just forget American news. Just forget it. We are the worst. And as we speak right now, the world is looking, what are we going to do with Julian Assange? Watch Fox News. Watch these jadruls in the morning and you'll realize they have no idea. It's like romper room. They're handed this stuff. They have no idea what the world is thinking. You have got to be able to handle multiple plates in the world simultaneously. Do you hear me? You're going to have to hear plates. You're going to have to be able to handle multiple issues, from the trial in New York to the debates to new COVID information. Now they're talking to, have you heard all this new 9/11 talk about? They're talking about 9/11. Are you seeing what's happening regarding Diddy? Do you know what's happening? Look at Kardashian. Okay? Look at Kris Kardashian. Look at her boyfriend. Look at the people who are responsible for these individuals who also were getting Britney Spears locked up. This is a cabal. You've got people who are really getting scared. Throw into the list LeBron James and others. Just wait. It's exploding. Also, we've got the Pope, who is rattling off some inconsequential. I don't know what he's talking about. I have no idea. Then we have, and by the way, stay tuned to Lionel Media. And also, specifically here, make sure you're subscribed to Lionel Nation, because I do it on my private channel, but right here as well. There is a new movement. Have you heard this one? I'll be talking about that. Remember years ago when kids who were young men were crazy into that Axe? Remember the AXE, the Axe, not Axe not, but Axe, that spray cologne. All these kids who were, I don't know, they were like teenagers and adolescents. They were spraying themselves with Axe. Okay. Now we've got these kids who were, the new trend is to spend all of their money, save all their money on high-end $300, $200, $400 colognes, Tom Ford, and really expensive high-end fragrances. That's that. You also see this Butker, Kevin Costner, this incredible movement towards back to reality. And ladies, what do you think is making one of the biggest comebacks ever? Listen to me, ladies. You ready for this? Dollhouses. We are returning to a civilization We are returning back. Remember, I've been always telling you that the pendulum is going to swing back like a wrecking ball. A wrecking ball. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's coming back. And you, as a citizen, have to be aware of what's happening socially, politically, what's happening in terms of entertainment. Because remember, politics is downstream from entertainment, from culture, entertainment. This is what Breitbart said. And by the way, do you believe Breitbart? Do you believe they are, seriously, where do you go? Do you not see what's going on here? Do you know? So what I'm trying to tell you is that you've got a lot on your plate. You've got so much to determine, so much to figure out right now. All that is happening simultaneously. And it is beyond a lot of people's ken and abilities to sit back and truly understand what is happening. It is beyond their ability to do this. All right? Stand by for 1 second, dear friends, because as we've always told you, there is one of the scariest things around, and that's the notion of food insecurity and food unavailability and stores and food outlets being closed during God knows what. So stay tuned. It's no longer a question of if something catastrophic is coming, it's when. And while you still have some control, what are you going to do about it now to prepare? Well, your first step is going to my website, preparewithlionel.com. And for a limited time, take $200 off a 3-month emergency food supply. My Patriot Supply is equipped to help you and your family to prepare. They've helped over 2 million families already. These 3-month kits with ready hour foods provide over 2,000 calories every day with 22 varieties and a 25-year shelf life. Breakfast, lunches, dinners, drinks, snacks, everything. And they're sealed inside 6 rugged waterproof buckets, and they're over 120 pounds of food. So take advantage right now and go to preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com. One more time, preparewithlionel.com. Okay, my friends, and this just broke this morning as well. Are you ready for this one? You better pay attention to this because this one is mucho critical. The ICC, the International Criminal Court, is seeking arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Hamas chief Yahya Sinwar and others who were responsible for crimes related to Israel's war in Gaza, Hamas's attack on October the 7th. This is according to the court's chief prosecutor. Arrest warrants are also being sought for Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and 2 other senior Hamas officials. Let me ask you something. You ready for this? And this is the question I want you to ask your friends today. Listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. What is the difference between the ICC and the ICJ? Answer my question. What's the difference between the ICC and the ICJ? And what are they? What are they? Now, we have a lot of people who are watching right now, and I want to have more participants in this. And I want to have more. I want you to feel that this is, and while we have a wonderful, wonderful family of folks who join us every day at 8 a.m. and every night at 7 p.m., I want there to be a group of people that come in. And I don't want to be like these other shows that just have this live stream, but a live stream means nothing. I want Pittman, and I want everybody to understand. I want Wes, and I want Pete, and I want Faye, and everybody to join others and pull people in. The Court of Justice versus the criminal court. Okay, fine. What happens? What's the difference? That's the most important. When you see ICC, the International Criminal Court, that's against people, leaders. ICJ is against countries. International Court of Justice, countries. Remember the ICJ, belief, suspicion, probable cause for genocide against Israel, ICJ. ICC, International Criminal Court, is against you. Putin. I think Kissinger may have. There are some countries. That's the difference. Do you have to be a signatory to this? Here's one of those ones. You can't travel. In the event, and ICC is very careful. They're saying, okay, we're not going to just go after Bibi. We're going to go after Hamas. This is the first time anybody even knew they were in existence. What's their jurisdiction? Must you be a signatory to it? Must you be involved in it? This is what we never had this before. Bibi? What? And here's the story. There is such a cataclysm, a political cataclysm that's going on in Israel. It is beyond anything that most people can grasp. Our good friend Raul Rodriguez says the International Court of Justice, ICJ or War Court, is a civil tribunal that hears disputes between countries. The ICC is a criminal tribunal that will prosecute individuals. Indeed. And when you say civil, you obviously, it's hard to have a criminal case against a country. But basically, that is what it comes down to this. And you also have Americans. You also have a lot of folks. You're going to be asking yourself, who runs it? Is it like FISA? Remember, FISA courts, FISA courts were theoretically involved at first to be this rogue, to be this independent, kind of an ancillary, outboard, independent, kind of a special tribunal that the federal government had to go to ensure, to involve itself, to review wiretap surveillance, foreign and otherwise. And it's a joke. It's a rubber stamp. Out of like 20,000 applications, they turned down like 3. It's a rubber stamp, but sort of. But FISA just remained in the background. Well, for the longest time, the ICJ, The Hague, which is where it is, but they've been kind of like the UN. Nobody's been flexing their muscles. The world now is saying, okay, ICC and ICJ, do something. And you know what they're saying? Listen, if we have to go through Hamas to get to Israel, fine. To be fair, good. Well, how come you can't just charge Bibi and not charge Hamas? That's what this is about. This is critical. This is critical. And because Americans have never had any kind of understanding as to the criticality of what's going on in the world other than themselves, they just don't care. They just don't care. They don't worry about it. You better start worrying about it. And do you think this jadrul, this coot, this dotard, Biden is in any position to discuss this, either in a debate form or otherwise? Absolutely not. It's going to be a bloodbath. They're going to throw Biden at him, and they're going to have to pull him out quick. They're going to have to pull him out quick. I mean, immediately. And don't forget, Gavin Newsom. How long have I been saying that? Because there's what you hear, what you say, and then the international and intellectual dark web, as Weinstein calls it. There are other folks and the blinds and other news sources that basically are saying, we know what's going on. They see the media buys. So you can't fool people. And all of a sudden, Gavin Newsom says, hey, guess what? He's got media buys already lined up. They know what's happening. This is not just something that's happening. Joe Biden cannot do this anymore. Joe Biden is pretending he wants a debate. Did you hear him at Morehouse College? Nobody cared. He's done. It's through. It's finished. And what I'm trying to tell you, dear friends, not only is he finished and done and through, but we're going back to this thing called American familial and familiar ethics. Kevin Costner, Cowboys, that Blue Bloods type, though I think that's going to be finally canceled, and Selleck is fit to be tied. Anyway. Dollhouses. Listen to me. Dollhouses. Little girls mommy, daddy, boys enjoying scent, kind of masculine, dressing up, being fashion conscious. Wait until the anti tattoo movement kicks in. This is going to be the one I'm dying for, because this isn't just merely changing your mind. The Julian Assange case, listen to me carefully. Julian Assange, under Bartnicki, Julian Assange is a Supreme Court case, is a journalist. It's a 2001 case. It's a journalist. And when he displays something, broadcasts something, publishes something as a journalist, like that depraved Ellsberg, that cock and bull story about the Pentagon Papers and all this bullshit. Bullshit. That was a limited hangout. They knew all about that. That had nothing to... Anyway. You've got to be able to and become more involved in thinking multidimensionally, but don't think that joining the Alex Jones knockoffs is what we're talking about. There's so much of what he's saying that's absolutely correct. But my goal is not to hand to you the latest version, the latest story, the latest what am I trying to say? The latest conspiracy. I hate that term. It's not that, but it's to tell you something you've never thought about. Julian Assange is critical because what we're doing right now, because remember, if they can put him in prison, they can put you in prison. It's not about Julian Assange. It's about you. It's about Joe Rogan. It's about Lex Fridman. It's about everybody you want, whether it's whatever you like, from Poole to my good buddy Sticks to whoever it is. It's about us. They're going to start with him. And once you get the ruling that says good, so we can determine that a broadcaster or somebody along those lines can be held liable for what they say, then yes, we're next. And that's why these rat bastards in the world of these phonies like Fredo and that stupid Fox News morning show, imbeciles, demonstrably stupid. I think they're telegraphing and signaling to the world, hey, listen, we're not going to get our A team here. This is the biggest propaganda nothing I've ever seen. But it's popular because they keep trying to assuage you. They're like that aunt who keeps giving you chocolate behind your back. Here, try some of this. Thank you, Aunt, Aunt Josephine. Here you go. This is not good for you. This is going to ruin your appetite. This is going to throw off your desire to know the truth. But that's exactly what's going on. So my goal is to say, no, over here. No, over here. It's like I'm taking you to the zoo and I'm saying, no, that's a squirrel, honey. That's a squirrel. That's not the animal. The animal's over here. I know that looks like an animal, but it is. It's just a squirrel. They kind of run around here. But at the zoo, it's the one behind the cage. It's the one over here. It's the one in the aquarium. And now that we're looking at the animals, this one is being tortured. This one is not. This one. So it seems as though we're at a zoo, at a park, at a display. But the people who point out what it means, the docents, those are the ones that I find to be most problematic. Now, let me stop right now. I want to remind you of our dear friend. I can't say it enough. Mike Lindell, still standing with deal after deal after deal. And you have to go to mypillow.com, but only use promo code Lionel. He knows exactly. Our buying power, our faith, our traditional, I don't want to say values, I don't know what that means, but our focus on helping those who help us is unmistakable. Listen to these great words from this great American, Mike Lindell, My Patriot Supply. I've got the wrong one. MyPillow.com. Though that one's good too. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. It's time yet again, my friends, to hail and salute our great friends at MyPillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you'll get a free gift. No purchase necessary. And yes, I know, a free gift. It's a tautology, so sue me. But first, listen carefully. Check out their $25 extravaganzas. Premium My Pillows, Queen and King, My Pillow 2.0, My Pillow bed sheets, the lowest price ever. Sandals, slides, slippers, 6-piece towel sets, 4-pack dish towel sets. Simply and absolutely unbelievable. So go to mypillow.com/Lionel, mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, or call 800-645-4965, and watch how fast Mike Lindell answers the phone. mypillow.com, simply and absolutely the best. My friend, as I always tell you, as I always remind you, as I always bring back to your attention and your perusal and your focus, your duty is to understand everything. It's an active form of education. It's an active tutorial. It's an active study and scholarship. You're always keeping up to speed. And you can never be in the position where you're sitting back and letting people come to you so that you go to this world. How do I say this? Where you go and they throw the things at you. The other night, this weekend, we had a wonderful time, and Mrs. Allen and I had we had such a beautiful day. And we went to a wonderful place out there, and great Italian joint in Queens. We met with friends, and they brought their son along. And he's playing his game. Playing his game. And I said, let me ask you something. I said, you probably don't know this. I said, do you know? I said, ask him. I said, do you read? He says, not really. I said, that's okay. I'm not trying to be mean to you. I said, when you read, you read a word, and then a lot of it's recognition. You just jump to the next word. You don't read each word. You know patterns, and you've done it for so long. That's why artificial intelligence, that's what it does. It recognizes patterns. It predicts what the words are. But your eyes track. And when they track, which is critical, they predict by virtue of this. And so they're following this. I said, what you're doing here is, this is a machine that's throwing things at you. You're not tracking anyway. It's almost like Clockwork Orange, where I said, and so what you're doing is you're not focusing on this. I said, another thing too is, when people like, your mom and dad and I, when we were your age, we did these things that seemed kind of stupid then, but we involved ourselves with like playing a ball. Do you ever play a ball? I said, do you have a baseball glove or a glove? No. I said, let me tell you why that's important. Not that you're going to play baseball. But first of all, when you're a kid, you're doing this thing, proprioception. Placement and weight and size and shape. And your brains are going and making inroads, making connections and paths, shape, weight, placement. Now here, stand in front of me. Now throw this to me. What am I going to do? Am I right-handed? Am I left-handed? Well, there's a lot that's going on. I'm looking. I'm judging distance. I'm trying to match the force of my arm corresponding to the distance, and I'm catching it. Eyes, depth perception. I said, there's no depth here. I said, this is all 2D you're watching. This is 2D. Plus it's coming at you. I said, another thing too is, when you write, you don't write either. When you write, what's interesting is that this involves a lot of work. The thought. Write somebody a thank you note. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank. I'm going to write thank you. T. Got to remember the word. Here's the pen. Do you ever see people write like this? They don't know. We had this thing called the Palmer method. It's the same way that people can't use a fork. You use a fork. You actually use knives almost like a pen. Chopsticks. Thank God for chopsticks, at least. I said, you don't realize this, because what you're doing is what we consider to be play. Our brain was becoming hardwired by virtue of the activities we were doing. In order to tell distance and weight and all of that, we had to think and think and think. Okay. You're not doing that. By analogy, for you to be a citizen of the world, right now, my friend, you've got to take into account everything. National, international, domestic, crime, social, what's happening in the world, culture, drugs, health, music, sports, weather, science, critical thinking, literature, history. There's so much that is going on here. And most people, like my friend's son, sit back and they say, well, let Sticks will tell me all I need to know. And by the way, I love him. Love that guy. But we need more than that. Well, I'm going to watch, I love to watch foreign news. Watch WION, World is One. Watch Indian out of Delhi. Watch Palki Sharma out of First Post. Or, oh my God, look at Press TV, Iranian TV. Watch Al Jazeera. Watch Middle East News. Watch Al Arabiya. Watch, that's still there, RT, CCTV, Italian, Europe. Listen, watch the way people and everything. Tiffany Henyard or Tiffany Henyer. Just and recognize that there are some stories people love. I have a friend of mine. She has no interest in the news, but she loves a story about Crockett and MTG. By the way, MTG, do you see? She used the word indictable, not indictable, indictable. Bless her heart. She doesn't do that too often, but to be fair, if you make a mistake, we're going to point it out and mock you mercilessly. So anyway, dear friends, thank you for watching. Have a great and a glorious day. And to you, Raul Rodriguez, thank you for your comments and your consideration and your generosity, dear friends. See you tonight. Don't forget, I got a brand new video up right now. Right now, go to see what I've done. It's about who's responsible. It's about Iran and taking you through the critical thinking steps and critical analysis of this. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. See you tonight at 7 p.m. But don't forget, until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's, that's right, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Ta-ta.